Investigators typically encounter spirits attempting to escape or find peace, but this case involves a force that actively tries to stop anyone from intervening. Ed and Lorraine Warren investigated hundreds of hauntings and possessions over 3 decades. Of their entire collection, only one case file from the winter of 1988 remains permanently sealed. The case began when a weathered, unstamped envelope appeared on the Warrens' front porch. It contained a photograph of an isolated church and a note that read, "It won't let us die." St. Gabriel's Church stands deep in the mountains of Vermont. While official records state the building was destroyed by fire 60 years ago, it remains standing and completely untouched. The investigators bypassed standard haunting protocols for this site. The physical existence of the church directly contradicts the established historical record. The atmosphere around the church perimeter is unnaturally still. There is a total absence of wind, and no insects or wildlife are present in the surrounding forest. Father Callahan, the local priest, reported a grim cycle at the site. He claimed he had been forced to bury the same family multiple times. Archival evidence in the cemetery supports this. Several graves bear the identical names of a man, woman, and child from the 1800s, appearing on headstones from different decades. At exactly 6 p.m., the church bell rings independently. This marks the moment the grounds transition to the control of a dark entity. This evidence points to a localized supernatural loop where the dead are actively prevented from passing on. Inside the sanctuary, the temperature drops to freezing. Candles that have sat unlit for decades ignite spontaneously without a flame as soon as the doors are opened. Auditory evidence from the confessional booth reveals heavy, unexplained breathing. Carved repeatedly into the interior wooden walls is a single defensive phrase: "No last rites." Psychic testimony details a vision of a priest in 1891 performing a ritual on a frightened family. Instead of offering a blessing, he spoke in an unknown language while holding a crucifix over them. The architectural layout reveals that the church was constructed as a supernatural prison, designed to lock an ancient force inside. Hidden stone steps descend from beneath the altar into a subterranean chamber. The walls of the staircase are covered in Latin prayers that have been physically erased. The investigators recovered the 1891 diary of Father Elias Blackwood from this hidden room. It serves as the primary documentation of the events that occurred here. This photograph shows the congregation Father Elias oversaw. These villagers were victims of his betrayal in his pursuit of eternal life. Blackwood's diary details how he traded their souls to a dark entity, sacrificing his own followers to gain power over death. The corrupted spirit of the priest emerged from a coffin in the chamber. He was surrounded by the transparent, trapped souls of the people he had betrayed. The entity utilized an offensive tactic by directly possessing the lead investigator. Ed Warren's eyes turned completely black as he was weaponized against his partner. This case demonstrates a paranormal threat that uses the faith of followers to bind them eternally. The investigators deployed a countermeasure by performing the last rites on the possessing entity. They addressed the spirit as the condemned, dying sinner it had become. This broke the possession immediately. As the spirit was weakened, the trapped souls emerged from the darkness to surround their captor in silent judgment. The ritual resulted in the entity being dragged into the shadows, while the freed souls dissolved into light. Spiritual deliverance was achieved by weaponizing the very sacrament the priest had denied his victims for over 100 years. Following the investigation, the church was sealed and the case file was given a permanent classification. The investigators concluded a dangerous form of evil can hide behind the mask of human faith. The final pages of the 1891 diary reveal an unresolved anomaly. The priest was using an ancient, non-human language to invite a force into the church. While the human priest was banished, the ancient evil that originally answered his call remains undisturbed in the darkness beneath the sealed building. Closing a case file does not eradicate an ancient force. It remains waiting for the next person to seek its help.